Good day, distinguished panelists, esteemed educators and learners joining us from different parts of the world. Today we gather not just to talk about education, but to pause, reflect, and learn. The past year has reminded us that education is not static, it is living, evolving, and deeply human. It has tested our systems, stretched our compassion, and challenged our assumptions, yet has also revealed resilience, creativity, and hope. This session, reflecting on the year's lessons learned in education, invites us to look beyond outcomes and ask deeper questions. What truly worked? What did not? And most importantly, what must we carry forward to build learning spaces that are inclusive, equitable, and future ready? And our panelists today will bring diverse experiences from policy, diplomacy, academia, grassroots engagement, and youth leadership. Each voice represents a piece of the larger story of education this year. As we listen, may we not only reflect, but also recommit to learners, to educators, and to the shared responsibility of shaping education that serves humanity. With that, it is my honor to officially welcome you all to this important conversation, and I hereby declare the session open. And I'm going to quickly call on our first speaker for today, panelist for today, actually. Our first panelist for today is Ambassador Kamal Chandra Lohani, and his question is, from a global development perspective, what educational lesson what educational lesson this year most directly connects learning to sustainable development goals? The floor is yours, Ambassador Kamal.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for this golden opportunity and warm greetings from my side. Namaste and namaskar. Assalamu alaikum and sat sri akal to everybody and one and all. Well, this is Kamal Chandra Lohani from Nainital, Uttarakhand, India, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Respected Gloria, ma'am, I'm a respected Rania, ma'am. I cannot see her here. Respected our Naid sir, our Nallam sir, Yala ma'am, Osama sir, and all the great speakers and panelists of this window and today's webinar. So, I would like to say for the answer of these questions, this year in 2025, I have learned so many education lessons from this Evoke through Education platform, like challenges in education, stories of resilience and innovations, collaborations as a tool, fostering life learning habits, leadership in education, resilience, inclusivity, innovations, problem solving, global education, celebrating students' activity, and what not. I must say, what not. And as an essence, I would like to say education is the only thing which can transform, which can change, and which can empower. And the education, as when we talk about globally, a walkthrough education is the miracle happened with education, by education. It is the power of education. So education empowers learners with practical skills, values, and critical thinking to solve real world, social, economic, and environmental changes, big issues, just like poverty, inequality, lack of education, climate change. And the lesson which I have learned aligns most closely with Sustainable Development Goals 4, the quality education, and which emphasizes not only access to schooling but also relevant learning outcomes. Education becomes a driver of sustainable development when it builds critical thinking and problem solving skills that helps learners address big issues of the world, big issues of the global, like poverty, inequality, climate change, environment, health, and other issues and other challenges. And when it promotes values such as global citizenship, equity, environmental stewardship, supporting goals like Sustainable Development Goals 5, gender equality, and Sustainable Development Goals 10, reduce inequalities, and Sustainable Development Goals 13, climate action. When it links learning to livelihood and innovations, contributing to Sustainable Development Goals 8, decent work, economic growth, and Sustainable Development Goal 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, the most relevant lessons is that learning must be transformative, inclusive, and action oriented, enabling students and individuals and everybody and community to contribute meaningfully to sustainable development rather than focusing solely on academic knowledge. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Kamal. Your response clearly shows that education is the engine that drives all SDGs, and it reminds us that sustainable development is impossible without intentional learning pathways. Thank you very much for that wonderful answer that you've
Thank you,
just
ma'am.
given.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, so I'm
Thank you,
going
everybody.
to move over to our next panelist for today, Ambassador Yala Padmaja, and she's going to be answering the question, reflecting on gender and inclusion. What key lesson did this year highlight about preparing learners for an equitable future? The floor is yours.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, Gloria ma'am, Rania ma'am, Nahid sir, and Raja sir, and Kamal sir, and all the outstanding speakers on this platform. My topic is reflecting on gender and inclusion. What key lessons did this year highlight about preparing learners for an equitable future? So, this year taught us an important lesson about gender and inclusion. Education must be fair to everyone. All learners deserve equal respect. So, this idea guides our future. Next, gender equality starts in the classroom. Boys and girls must get the same opportunities. Teachers should encourage everyone equally. This builds confidence in learners. Inclusion means no one is left behind. Every child learns in a different way. Schools must respect these differences. This helps all students grow. We learn that stereotypes harm young minds. They limit dreams and choices. Education should break these barriers. Learners must feel free to choose their path. An equitable future needs awareness. Students should learn about fairness early. This shapes positive attitudes. It creates responsible citizens. Teachers play a key role in inclusion. Their words and actions matter. They must model equality. This inspires learners to do the same. Curriculum should reflect diversity. Stories should include all choices, all voices. This makes learning meaningful. Students feel seen and valued. Safe learning spaces are essential. Learners should feel respected and heard. Fear blocks learning. Inclusion builds trust and courage. Preparing learners means teaching empathy. They must understand others' feelings. Kindness and strengthens society. Equality begins with empathy. This year showed us the power of inclusion education. It prepares learners for a fair future. Gender equality is not optional. It is the foundation of progress. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving me this great opportunity. Thank you, one and all, for listening me. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for that amazing answer. Your insight reinforces that inclusion must move beyond policy statements to lived experiences. It reminds us that equity is measured by impact, not intention. Thank you very much for that answer. And I'm going to quickly move over
Thank
to
you,
our
ma'am.
next panelist for today, Ambassador Nalam Achitaramat Chandramurti, who is going to be speaking.
Yes,
He's going to be
yes,
responding to
ma'am.
the
Yes, ma'am. I
question,
am ready.
what leadership lesson from this year shows how education system can better adapt to uncertainty and change? The floor is yours, sir.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good evening, one and all. AWT Gloria ma'am, Kamal Lohani sir, Nahid Raja sir, and David Greenfield sir, and Rania ma'am, and all the members of the screen. Good evening, one and all. Uh, Leadership lesson for education. One strong leadership lesson from this year is the power of adaptive leadership, the ability to respond thoughtfully and rigidly to uncertain and change, ma'am, in this year. This year showed the education system cannot rely only on fixed plans and traditional routines. Effective leaders stayed flexible, made quick but informed decisions, and adjusted policies as the situations evolved. These lessons to teachers, students, and parents using feedback to guide action rather than waiting for perfect conditions, ma'am. Another key lesson is that trust and collaboration matter more than control. When leaders empower teachers to innovate and solve local problems, schools adapted faster and new challenges. Shared leadership created resilience and reduced the fear during uncertain times. Finally, this year reinforced that learning organization must prioritize well-being, analyzed and academic goals. Leaders who focused on emotional safety, continuous learning, and clear communications helped their communities remain stable and motivated during the changes. Together, these lessons show that the education system adapts best when leaders are flexible, concerned, and willing lessons to real time just as they accept their students to do. It is my opinion, ma'am. Thank you, one and all, for this giving this opportunity. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. Your answer underscores that adaptive leadership is no longer optional. It challenges leaders to embrace flexibility without losing their vision. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate your responses. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist for today, Ambassador Halima Sani Saada. And she's going to be responding to the question, as someone close to grassroots realities, what lesson did this year teach about equity and access in education? The floor is yours.
Hello, good evening, everyone. All I can say this year is I thank the Lord for everything that happened this year because it was a real eye opener for me, seeing that I have been working closely to communities. And this year has taught me that equity in education is not about treating everyone the same, but it's about responding to real unequal starting points because every child has a different starting point. Being close to grassroots realities, I saw that many learners are not excluded because they lack ability or ambition. They are excluded by layers of silent barriers: unstable household income, unpaid fees, lack of learning materials, unreliable electricity, poor internet access, long distances to school. There are so many of them to mention. And sometimes the emotional weight of poverty itself. Now, when these realities are ignored, access to education becomes theoretical rather than lived. One striking lesson this year was how fragile access really is. It's really fragile. A single disruption, maybe let's say a parent losing a job, maybe a phone breaking, transportation. There are so many of them. It can push a child out of learning entirely. Equity, therefore, is not a one time intervention. It requires consistency, flexibility, and empathy. I also learned that small intentional actions can have outsized impact. At the grassroots level, progress often comes from simple but thoughtful solutions. For example, sharing devices, adjusting school schedules, peer mentoring, community supported learning spaces, and even stronger parent teacher collaboration. These may not look impressive on policy documents, but they keep learners connected to education. Another major lesson was the importance of listening before designing solutions. How often do we listen? How do we listen to these children? How do we listen to their pleas, their ideas, their troubles, their worries? How do we do that? Many well meaning policies fail because they are created far from the classrooms and communities. They are created in the offices, they are created in from the top. And from the grassroots, it's ignored. So this year, it reinforced that teachers, parents, learners themselves are not just beneficiaries, they are experts in their own realities. When their voices shape decisions, access becomes more practical, more inclusive, and more sustainable. Now, finally, this year reminded me that equity is a moral commitment, not a technical checkbox. It asks of comfortable questions like who is being left out and why? And what are we willing to do to change these things and bring them back in? True access required courage to rethink systems, allocate resources, and sometimes slow down in order to include everyone. When we do that, we find out that grassroots are all being they can access education as much as possible. Now, in conclusion, and the lesson this year is clear. Education becomes equitable only when our solutions are rooted in lived experiences, sustained by community, and guided by, of course, empathy. Anything else risks widening the very gaps we claim to close. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Halima. Your perspective grounds us in reality. And I most importantly love this powerful reminder that you gave us that equity begins by listening to those most affected, not those most represented. Thank you very much for that amazing answer. And I'm going to move on to our next panelist for today, Dr. Mohamed Osama, and he's going to be responding to the question from a global and regional perspective. What lesson did this year teach about education in times of crisis? The floor is yours, sir.
थैंक यू गुड डे सरफरोशी की तमन्ना अब हमारे दिल में है देखना है कितनी ताकत बाजुए कातिल में है I have a desire to be beheaded and I have to see how much strength the killer has in his arms. Don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth. Everyone has the right to education, but there are some barriers for accessing quality education nowadays. And 224 million children affected by crisis need educational support, including more than 72 million who cannot attend school. Those who can continue learning face numerous barriers to accessing a quality education. A global perspective in education equips learners with the skills and understanding necessary to thrive in a diverse and rapidly changing environment. It encourages open-mindedness, cultural awareness, and critical thinking, which are essential for personal growth and professional success. The primary lesson from a global and regional perspective this year is the urgent need to build resilient, flexible, an inclusive education system that prioritizes both foundational learning and the holistic well-being of students and teachers. The ongoing impacts of various crises, from conflicts and climate disasters to economic shocks, have highlighted the significant disparities in educational access and quality, particularly for vulnerable population. There are some key lessons. They are prioritizing educational resilience, addressing the digital divide, focusing on holistic needs, empowering teachers, ensuring equity and inclusion, strengthening data and monitoring, increasing and protecting funding. Globally, there is a push to use the crisis as an opportunity to reinvent education, making it more flexible, equitable, and efficient by leveraging innovation and fostering strong collaboration among all stakeholders, from local communities to international partners like UNESCO and the World Bank. There are some tackling today's issues in education. There are artificial intelligence, competency-based education, teacher shortages, mental health, student engagement, and career readiness. Thank you all. And at last, I salute on the martyrdom of our three great Indian martyrs. They are Ashfaqullah Khan ji, Shahid Roshan Singh ji, and the great martyr for whom we are living here. He was Roshan Singh ji, Shahid Ram Prasad Bismil ji, and Shahid Ashfaqullah Khan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, I'm Dr. Mohammed Osama. Amazing presentation. Your reflection shows us that crises reveal both gaps and possibilities. And it challenges it challenges system to build resilience before emergencies arise. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate your answers. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist, Mary Marad Moin. I don't know. If I didn't pronounce your name correctly, please pardon me. The floor is yours. Mary from Egypt, the floor is yours. Are you there? Okay, you have 3 minutes for your presentation. Hello, Mary. All right, while she gets herself ready for the presentation, I'm going to quickly call on our next speaker, our next panelist, Dr. Benito Prakash. And Dr. Benito Prakash, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and she's going to be answering the question, what lessons from this year emphasize the importance of lifelong learning for both educators and learners? The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me such an amazing question. Good evening, one and all. I would like to share quote from our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. As we reflect on the lessons this year has taught us, one truth emerges with remarkable clarity. Learning does not end with a syllabus, a degree, or a promotion. It continues for life. The most significant lesson of this year is the renewed understanding of the importance of lifelong learning for both educators and learners. This year reminded us that education exists in a rapidly changing world. New technologies, evolving knowledge systems, and diverse learners' needs have challenged traditional assumptions about teaching and learning. For educators, this meant recognizing that expertise is not a destination but a journey, one that requires continuous professional learning, reflective practice, and openness to new pedagogies. For learners, it emphasized that success is not defined by memorization but by adaptability, curiosity, and the ability to learn independently. Another powerful lesson is that learning thrives thrives in uncertainty. This year showed us that moments of disruption often becomes moments of deepest learning. Teachers who embraced change, experimenting with new methods, collaborating with peers, and learning alongside students modeled resilience and intellectual humility. In doing so, they taught one of the most valuable lessons of all. It is acceptable not to know everything, but it is essential to keep learning. Importantly, this year also highlighted that learning is a shared responsibility. When classrooms become communities of inquiry, where teachers are facilitators and students are active participants, learning becomes meaningful and lasting. Such environments nurture critical thinking, creativity, and a growth mindset, preparing learners not only for examination but for life beyond the classroom. In conclusion, the defining lesson of this year is clear. Lifelong learning is the foundation of educational relevance and societal progress. As educators, our responsibility is not only to teach content but to cultivate disposition of curiosity, adaptability, and reflection. As learners, the challenge is to embrace learning as a continuous journey beyond formal schooling. To echo John Dewey has said, education is not preparation for life, education is life itself. This year has reminded us that when educators continue to learn, learners learn how to continue long after the classroom ends. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr.
I hope I
Benita.
have given the right answer.
Of course, absolutely. Thank you very much. Your reflection affirms that
Thank you so much.
learning never ends, and it challenges all of us educators to model curiosity, adaptability, and continuous growth as we educate our learners. Thank you very much for that amazing answer. And I'm going to move over to our next panelist for today, Dr. Gloria Okbara, and she's going to be responding to the question as an educator working closely with teachers and young voices. What lesson from this year reaffirms why empowering voices in education truly matters? The floor is yours, Dr. Gloria Okbara.
Good evening, my amiable CEO and everyone on the platform. Thank you for this very good question. I count it a great privilege to still be part of us, even up to today. I thank God for that. AWTE really made the topic simple for me. I can summarize it without any book. Why? As an educator, I learned to shift my approach in the teaching and learning processes I adopted over the years because of this. I've always concentrated on preparing learners for exams, not for life, but AWTE and the Sustainable Development Goals changed my perspective. I learned more than my learners by changing my approaches, and the evidence is clear even in my learners' lives. Confidence is built, motivation is boosted. Inclusiveness. I try my best to teach you. I try, and you can't cope. I leave you. The best I can do is to pair you with anyone. But empathy grew because of AWTE. And I will shift to concentrate on those ones until I get it. And that taught me that no learner is dull. Like I say, we don't use it in my school. We don't call anybody a slow learner. But different pace learning process takes place. What am I trying to say as an educator? Communication, community development, more skills with the use of IT. AI came, it was as if it was going to overtake, but the platform made me to believe that no way, it can't. Instead, you use it to bridge the gap already in existence because there's already digital gap. AWTE, as an educator, it made me to produce more learners who are confident enough to know that yes, learning didn't just take place, it is something they can defend anyway. In the past, if for example, let me use Nigeria where I am, they recently said they've removed computer studies data processing from WAEC, and I saw my learners crying. Before they will shout, oh, thank God, because they didn't want to have communication with the teacher since it was just teaching, 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 and pass your exams. But because there is now that empathy, synergy, communication, you see them crying. And by the grace of God, they brought back computer studies, but changed the term to be digital literacy or something. So as an educator too, and learners, that communication is there. There is need for us to prepare them for the future, not just passing the exams. I learned them from this platform. So because of time, I want to encourage every one of us, everybody who have spoken so far, they've mentioned everything: creativity, lifelong learning, use of AI tools and digital tools to empower and encourage our. My school, we have what we call CBT, computer-based tests. We've already set. It's still a way of feedback from the children, communicate. One or two must call to find out what he or she needs to do. It's a platform that we should all try to adopt, and let's continue to learn. Above all, I have met global educators with us. I can stand today and tell anybody I have the freedom to travel to Greece, Egypt, any part of the country, especially India, where I'll go and meet everybody. One day to USA to meet, just because of this global platform that has helped educators to come together. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I wish everyone compliments of the season.
You are
Thank
most
you.
welcome to India, ma'am.
I will come, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, compliments of the season, and thank you for that amazing response and reflection. Your reflection really made my day. That means we are not joking here, we are not playing here. And your insight powerfully shows that when voices are heard, ownership follows. It challenges us to rethink education not as something done to learners, but something built with learners. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate you. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist, Ambassador Uma Aria, and she's going to be responding to the question, what personal lesson from this year reshaped how you define success in education? The floor is yours, Ambassador Uma.
Good evening, Gloria ma'am, Rania ma'am, Kamal sir, Nahid sir, Yala ma'am, and from few lines. एक शब्द हौसले को एक साथ एहसास किसी की जिंदगी बदल देता है विश्वास। जब हम दूसरों को आगे बढ़ा देते हैं तब खुद भी सीखते हैं और दूसरों को भी सिखा जाते हैं। So I have learned from a work through education that how to encourage everyone. By this platform, I have learned that nobody is here those who are putting down each other. From some time in the school, I have learned that there is a kind of race. We are running. But here, everybody is there, those who are supporting us, those who design so many workshops for our student also, as well as how to improve ourselves like teachers. So motivation, really I have learned from here. I learn how to continuously improve our week. We have two workshops, so we are improving. Because earlier I was not talking in front of the camera, but right now I have a confidence which I have learned from this platform. And so many journal things which I have learned from this year, that mistake as the best teacher. Whenever we are doing any kind of mistake, just correct it at that time and learn from that it should be not done in the future. How failure shaped my growth. In last few months, I was learning that how the failure, maybe some things were there as a teacher I was not doing, but now I am in the post of vice principal. So I learned so many things, what kind of failure I was done there. So I should teach my teachers also what kind of mistake not should be done in the school and teacher who changed my life. There are many teachers here also, like Neelam ma'am, who connect me in, and also Kamal sir. Actually, I was not attending that time. Sir told me when we met in a meeting that ma'am, why you are not joining? Please connect because it will improve you. And also Nahid sir, so much energetic. Yala ma'am's smiling face, and so many members, those who are just improving you can say ki my qualities here, and turning setbacks into the strength, healing growth, confidence, self care, and so many things. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Omar. Your reflection really invites us to refine success beyond outcomes, and it challenges us all to value growth, resilience, and purpose. And I also want to join you in thanking those that have really motivated you. Congratulations to you, and thank you to all your mentors in this organization. God bless you all. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist, um, Ambassador Nahid Raza, and he's going to be speaking on from a diplomatic lens. What is one lesson this year that reinforced about education's power to bridge cultural or geographical divides? The floor is yours.
My sincere gratitude to our Gloria ma'am, Kamal Lohani sir, Neelam ma'am, Uma ma'am, Yala ma'am, Nallam sir, Osama sir, Nalini ma'am, and all the outstanding speakers, dreamers, doers, and dedicated souls. We stand at the crossroads of cultures, calling for connection. Boldly bridge the barriers that bisect our beautiful world. Geopolitical gaps gaping like grand chasms. Cultural canyons curved by centuries of conflict. But behold, we hold the hammer of harmony in our hands, dare to dismantle divides with dialogues and daring dance. Empathy echoes across every ethnic edge, forging friendships from fractured frontiers. Let leaders like us light the lamp of listening. Picture proud peoples partnering in peace, schools swapping stories, students sharing songs, teachers trading tales of triumphs and trials. No more nation nursing narrow narratives. Instead, nurture networks of noble neighbors, rise resilient reformers, rally the rising generation. With wisdom's wing, we weave a world without walls. Bridging divides demands a daily devotion. One conversation, one classroom, one courageous step. Together, we will win. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much,
Over.
Dr. Nahid. Your response beautifully reinforces that education is diplomacy in action. And it reminds us that classroom can succeed where politics sometimes fails by humanizing differences and nurturing mutual respect. Thank you very much for that amazing response. We appreciate you. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist for today, Ambassador Nalini Astana, and she's going to be responding to the question as we reflect on the year. What lessons should we carry forward that can transform education in the coming year? The floor is yours.
A very happy evening to one and all my gratitude to Dr. Glorious Gloria and Radiant Rania ma'am to always giving us the opportunity to come up with our thoughts and share it on this such a wide platform where we can make difference as educators. Thank you so very much. The question which you have given is really, really very nice. Why? Because reflection is the key to learn anything in a better manner. For reflection for this year, as we reflect on this year, our lesson emerges clearly. Education transforms when it shifts from being content heavy to learner centered and life connected. The most meaningful lesson learning happened when flexibility, empathy, and real world relevance guided teaching practices happened within and beyond the classroom. And we teachers should always keep this in mind. I'll just would like to share an example. A middle school, instead of teaching mathematics through the exercises, if teacher connects the lesson with budgeting from a classroom event, or mapping the classroom, and or doing it in a practical manner, then only it will be possible for the child to learn it for life, not for the exam. So students plan expense, compared price, calculate percentage, and in one lesson, many topics, many concepts can be taken care by us by not even mentioning the names of those concepts. So these are the small things which I would like to. The key I would like to on is research consistently shows that students learn better when they actively apply concept rather than passively memorizing information. So let's be of that kind. Schools that use project based and experiential learning report higher students' engagement and deeper understanding. Social emotional skills, the SES is the base of anything such as collaboration, empathy, and resilience, which are now recognized globally as essential for future readiness. Alongside literacy and numeracy is also a part of our NEP, which is taking care since very beginning of the child when he is entering the school gate. Teachers flexibility and strong student teachers relationship are among the top factors influencing learning outcome, especially in changing or uncertain times. When teachers are a friend of a child, then only the learning happens in a better way. So when education values meaning over memorization and purpose over pressure, it prepares not for exams but for life. So my closing poem will be carry forward not just what we teach, but how we listen, guide, and reach. Let learning bend, not break the child. Let wonder stay curious and wild. For when school meets the world outside, the future learns to walk with pride. Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Nalini.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. It means a lot.
Thank you. Your closing insights powerfully ties reflection to action. Thank you very much for that. I will come back for it. And it reminds us that lessons only matter when they shape our next steps. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate you. Yes, kudos. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist, Ambassador Chidima Oliobi, and she's going to be answering the question as a young voice or a younger voice. What lesson from this year do you believe adults in education need to listen to more carefully? The floor is yours, Ambassador Chidima.
Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Dr. Gloria, for this opportunity. I can't believe we've done 1 year already.
So to respond to my question, yeah, to respond to my question, the lesson that I've learned from this year and that I feel like adults in education need to listen to more carefully. So one lesson I believe that adults in education need to listen to more carefully this year is that students do not need more pressure. They need more understanding and partnership. This year actually reminded me that many learners are not necessarily disengaged um, just because they don't care. But most of them are overwhelmed. That's what I feel. And navigating the demands of academics alongside so many other issues, like there may be mental, emotional, social pressures that we may not that may not be visible, and may not have been prominent in other years. So, as speaking as a younger voice in education, I've seen I've seen that when we stop assuming what students need and start asking them, um, that could make a difference. So when learners are involved in decisions about how they learn, how they are assessed, or how they can be supported, their motivation will increase. Another important lesson is that flexibility is not lowering of standards. It's it's a recognition that learning is not a one size fits all. It's not a one size fits all. So even when we make small shifts like using different assessment options for certain students, having open conversations with them, leaving a space for reflection, a huge difference. And most importantly, this year has also shown me that listening is not talking about soft skills. We always mention listening, but in education, I don't think listening is a soft skill. It's adults actually truly we need to listen to students, right? And the classroom can then become a more humane, a more responsive environment, and that would actually yield a more effective result. Take forward is this: if we want meaningful learning, we must move from control to collaboration. And very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Chidima, for that amazing response. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes, now we can hear you.
okay,
Yes.
okay. Your response is a courageous reminder that wisdom is not limited by age. And you've just invited educators to listen more to their students, partner with their students, and also assume less. Thank you very much for that amazing response and reflection. We appreciate. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist, Professor Dr. Suraya Banu, and she's going to be responding to the question, what academic or leadership lesson this year reminded us that education is not just about knowledge, but about values? The floor is yours, ma'am.
Very good evening. This is Professor Dr. Suraya from India. In 2025, several academic and leadership lessons have reinforced that education must be a vehicle for values such as integrity, empathy, and ethical responsibility rather than just the acquisitions of technical knowledge. The key events and lessons from 2025 include number one, the All India Vice Chancellor Conference, February 2025. This major summit explicitly called for redefining education as a medium for ethical leadership and societal transformation. The lesson was overemphasizing technical skills leads to a decline in moral responsibility. Academics leaders proposed stabilizing 100 values education centers across university to ensure ethics remains at the heart of higher learning. Second, addressing the trust defect in leadership. Global reports in 2025 highlighted a widespread erosion of trust in institutions. The lesson was leadership in any field, including education, is moving towards a premium on authentic leadership and integrity. Leaders are reminded that walking their talk and taking full ownership of shortcomings are more valued than perfect performance. Number third, ethical integration of AI. As AI become a core pillar of 2025 educational strategies, it sparked a critical lesson on human-centered values. The lesson, while AI can personalize learning, it cannot replace uniquely human traits like empathy, self-awareness, and compassion. Educational leadership in 2025 now emphasizes disruptive envisioning the ability of challenge technology norms with ethical standards and focus on long-term human well-being. Fourth, shift from marks to real understanding. Case studies and educational shifts in 2025 has pushed for a shift in mindset away from exam pressure and toward holistic development. The lesson was education is viewed as the equalizer only when its root is rooted in fairness and merit rather than power. Leadership in 2025 is increasingly measured by now institutions nurture diversity, intellectual freedom, and compassion rather than just their academic ranking or size. Number fifth and last, word value state 2025 reflection. Reflections on Mahatma Gandhi's principles during World Values Day 2025 serve as a reminder that the means, the journey, and methods matter as much as the end, the degree, or success. The lesson was promoting honesty in everything from class debate to examination builds a student's sense of self-worth that exists independently of a grade. Now I conclude, education must prioritize values over mere knowledge acquisitions to prepare individuals for a world increasingly dominated by artificial intelligence and rapid change, while knowledge provides a foundation values such as empathy, integrity, and ethical leadership define how that knowledge is applied to solve complex human challenges. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dr. Suraya Bano. Your response beautifully reframes education as character formation. And it challenges all of us educators to ask not only what students know, but how they are becoming. Thank you very much. We appreciate your presentation. And I'm going to quickly move over to Dr. Sarika Kumari, who is going to be responding to the question, reflecting on classroom reality. What lesson did this year teach about student voice and agency? The floor is yours.
Good evening. Good evening, Gloria ma'am, and to all of you, our team. Reflecting on this year, I have learned profound lesson. A classroom where every student's voice is heard is where true learning happens. This year shown me that education is not just about completing the curriculum. When students are only listeners, learning remains limited. But when they are given opportunity to speak, question, and make decisions, they become active participants in their learning. Moving ahead, I realized that a student voice and agency together make learning beautifully, meaningfully, and impactful. My personal experience is closely connected to my own classroom. Earlier, I used to decide almost everything: what to teach, and how to teach. But this year, I made a small change. I asked many students, how do you want to learn? Initially, some students hesitated, especially those who had never spoken up before. But when they were given the freedom to work in groups, choose topics, and express their ideas, the classroom atmosphere begins to transform. The impact was visible in result as well. At the CRC level, my students secured second position in TLM 3.0. This was the possible because the student planned, selected materials, and showcased their creativity independently. Similarly, one of my students won first place in the 100-meter race at the block level. Both achievements showed me that when students are given agency, they excel not only in academic but in every area of their life. This year, my learning extended beyond the classroom. I had the opportunity to connect with Sailesh Prajapati sir, whose guidance enriched my teaching a perspective. Later, I was able to connect internationally with Gloria ma'am, Rania ma'am, and whole entire award team. This global interaction taught me that no matter the country or culture, the core purpose of education is the same: to listen to students, understand them, and provide opportunity to give them to grow. This experience strengthens my belief that agency does not mean giving up control. It means showing their trust in students. When teachers remain open to learning themselves, they inspire students to move forward with their confidence and ownership of their learning. In conclusion, the most important lesson I learned this year is clear: when students recognize and use their voice, education begins to transform lives. Thank you very much. This is my today opinion. Thank you, Gloria ma'am, and all our team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sarika Kumari. Your insight affirms that engagement increases when students feel seen and heard. And it challenges all educators to design learning with students, not just for students. Thank you very much for your response. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist, Ambassador Oluwabumi Anani. And she's going to be responding to the question, what did this year teach us about emotional well-being in education? And how should that lesson influence school cultures moving forward? The floor is yours, Ambassador Oluwabumi.
Thank you very much to our very amiable CEO for this opportunity once again to share my thoughts. I've been listening intently to reflections and little oh Lord. Thank you to our colleagues all over the world who have been sharing insights all along. Now, to answer the question, what did this year teach us about emotional well-being in education, and how should that lesson influence school cultures moving forward? I would like to say that an educator is first of all wholly human. But oftentimes, society, our loved ones, administrators, parents, and we ourselves forget this fact that we are first of all human. We are obliged to wear many different hats, juggle varied roles, and in the process, we neglect our needs. Little wonder, educators always look stressed, ruffled, hurried, harried, like I'm looking right now, which is why I'm not able to switch on my video, and look burnt out. Teachers hardly have the time or luxury to reflect, socialize, pursue hobbies, network, connect, and really communicate. Now, this neglect reflects in the teacher's emotional well-being. Now, let me reference a particular teacher in our community, not in my school, but a neighboring school. Yes. Now, this teacher was in school and he had to be rushed to the hospital after an emotional breakdown. This teacher had to be placed on compulsory rest for a few weeks so he could regain balance and well-being fundamentally. I got interacting with this teacher, and the interaction revealed was that there had been an abnormal norm, and this is not just peculiar to his school. Very low pay, rising bills. I mean, a lot of teachers will say that the pay cannot even take you out there. There's a way to say it. Very low pay, rising bills, unpaid debts, increasing workload, unwarranted official queries, impossible deadlines, out, mood anxiety, anger, and to worsen matters, poor diet. Now, how this lack of emotional well-being, it puts a lot of teachers at risk. So what does this lesson teach us? A happy teacher makes happy students. In the coming year, we should make up our minds to be happy no matter what. As teachers in a work competition, we should just
Hello. Hello, Ambassador Wabumi. Or is it from me? Hello,
We are here.
Oh, okay. 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 It's her network. I don't know if it's mine or her own network. Hello, Ambassador Wabumi, I can see you. Do you want to conclude?
She's back.
Yes, I can
Hello.
see. Okay. Yes, continue.
Conclude.
Okay.
Yes. Now, we educators, in order to protect our emotional well-being, we should begin to plan early for the next term. This holiday, yes, as much as we need to rest, there is also need for us to plan on time. Our lesson plan, our lesson note, the tasks that the children are going to need, our instructional material. Why should we plan early? In order to protect ourselves from pressure, frustration, and eventual poor performance, which we tell on our emotional being. Then our next thing we need to do, we should prioritize our diet. Important. Do not trivialize solitude. That is me time. Let us make plans that in 2026 we are going to have me time with one another. Then have friends, make friends, keep friends, pray for God to give you good friends because we need friends. We can't go eat alone. Have a good laugh. Do not take yourself with humorous people. We just be alone. Then take it easy on yourself. I mean, I see it here by teachers hardly laugh. Always going to the classroom, they're in a hurry. They're in a hurry. Now you're like, no, don't take it seriously. Laugh and make a joke. Then every educator should have one person who education should embrace prayer, meditation, talking out. Some of us, we bottle up a lot. We don't talk to people. Let us learn to find that one person we can talk to. We can even talk to the mirror and express our frustrations to the mirror. It is cathartic. Now, education should intentionally enjoy family time. A lot of us, I'm guilty of this. We don't spend quality time with our family members. It's work, work, work. Let us try, because when we spend time with family, it has a way of releasing emotional stress from our hearts. So let us try to do that.
Okay. Mr. Luabimi, I think is your network, and it is also time up for her. All right. So thank you very much for that reflection. Your reflection strongly affirms that well-being is not an add-on, but a foundation, and it challenges institutions and even educators to move beyond awareness towards intentional care embedded in daily practice. Thank you very much for your presentation. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist, Ambassador Inem Etuk, and he's going to be responding to what lesson this year stood out regarding youth partnership or participation in shaping educational outcomes. The floor is yours, Ambassador Inem.
Very good afternoon and good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for this privilege to be part of this year's reflection and take it seriously too. Thank you so much, CEO, for the great work you've done so far. So sorry, my video can't. Okay, let's see. All right, so I would start by saying that this year has been a lot, mostly in youth participation in education. And currently, even in Nigeria, we are at a crossroad in which there's a transition currently in the education sector. So I would mention just I actually youth participation in the year 2025. One of the in policy and participation. I think one of those things that we've had this year has been that there's been an intentional which you could see some events being hosted and young persons are being invited to such events, and also their voices are being heard. And you would feel and you'd also see that there's been some listening. They've been heard. Their contribution has been actually included in the policy making, and also as a result of such, it brings in their participation. And also, we know that the educational system that listens to young voices, they would better be positioned to address real classroom and community challenges. So as such, we are hoping that our world, and not just Nigeria alone, but globally, we could face that. Secondly, it's in the area of innovation and digital engagement. We've also seen that there's been an increase as part of this year's lesson. There's really been an increase in the participation of younger hands or the youth in driving innovation in education. Mostly it's in the area of technology. So you realize that young people naturally, they have this adaptability to tools and also have a way of reimagining learning beyond just the classroom. And also one of such would be through online. Could also commend the work education platform as a platform to collaborate with younger minds and also bring them together. So a thank you to us. And also another area in which in the year 2025, younger minds have also been involved has been in leadership, and I could also say leadership and ownership, because you've realized that, and we've also realized that there have been much more inclusion of younger minds in educational leadership. You could also see them in clubs like we have in most of our schools, and also you would see in community learning projects. And you would notice that they always rise up to the occasion. And also, this has also helped to foster confidence and also accountability in our younger minds, and also it has also helped them in inclusion. So I wouldn't want to take so much of our time because we are actually having reflection this year and today. So in overall, so the lesson from this year is very, very clear that education works best when youth are heard, involved, and also they are empowered. And going forward, educators and policymakers and also institutions must move from token inclusion to meaningful engagements. So by doing so, we are not only shaping better educational outcomes today, but also preparing responsible leaders for tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Inem. Your insight powerfully affirms that youth are not leaders of tomorrow alone. They are contributors of today. Contributors today that challenge system to trust trust the younger ones and also give them the real responsibility that they need to carry out their activities. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate your answers. And I'm going to quickly move over to the next panelist for today, Ambassador Nilam Saxana. Yes, Ambassador Nilam, she's going to be speaking on reflecting on community engagement. What lessons did this year reveal about the role of families and society, uh, the role that families and society play in education? Ambassador Nilam, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, respected ma'am, and greetings to all panelists and all leaders. Namaste from India. Thank you very much, ma'am, and nice question. Strong family and societal involvement is crucial for education, improving academic performance, behavior, attendance, and building sense of belonging. Many things which we have learned by this engagement of the community, families working as a partner, building trust is a key. They are keeping faith on the teachers because after being principal, I have seen many of the family actually say parents and guardians. They become very good friends of the teachers. They cooperate on everything on in every activity with the teachers, as well as students. They find the holistic development and systematic support which they need actually, especially after COVID time and before last year when I came with AWTE. I have seen so big collaboration, cooperation with each other. The same thing we are forwarding to our students. And after COVID, I have seen many teachers, actually their dedication, everybody have seen, but they did not get appreciation as they deserved. They have taught to students, those became doctors, engineers on different posts. What dedication they have shown, how they have taught, how the teachers, especially lady teachers, after completion of their homework, as well as after teaching their own children. That time one single phone was there in a family by which the teacher was teaching, as well as her students were also reading by that phone, and they were taking the online classes. It was a very much critical condition there. So after that time, I'm again watching. Before that, what was there? The families became reserved. They were not coming together. But again, they have felt what is the strongness of togetherness. So many by the community, if we are together with each other, we find that we are more stronger. And especially by AWT family, what I have learned in Hindi, I say, हम ही हम हैं तो क्या हम हैं, तुम ही तुम हो तो क्या तुम हो. Its English meaning, if it's only me, then what am I? If it's only you, then what you are. So there is a strongness when we, I and you all are together. When we are working together, means community, families, teachers, they all are together. It means we will get the good result, good output, and it is really necessary. And cooperation, as many of the panelists, they have told about coming to each other, nearby to each other. Sometimes what I feel, na really ma'am, I feel Wish I were the bird. I would fly in the sky. I would go to nearby Gloria ma'am, nearby Rania ma'am, and more. What I leave in this session, because time is very less. We learn every time. I want to learn more, to come together to each other and learn this thing. And same things we share with our children, we share with the community, we share with the parents also. So they appreciate this thing also very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. Uh, uh,
Thank
to
you.
listen.
Outstanding articulation, outstanding. Great.
Thank
Thank,
thank
thank,
you very much.
thank you very much, Ambassador Nilam. Your response highlights that education thrives when it becomes a shared responsibility. And schools do better when communities are partners, not spectators. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate your reflection. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist, Ambassador Lagmani Kumari, who is going to be responding to the question, what did this year teach us about nurturing compassion and empathy within educational spaces? The floor is yours, Ambassador Lagmani. Hello, Ambassador Lagmani. Are you there? All right, so I'm going to move over to Dr. Brothati.
Yes.
Ma'am, Lagmani ma'am is there. Lagmani ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Gloria ma'am.
Welcome.
Respected Gloria ma'am, Rania ma'am, Nahis sir, Kamal Lohani sir, Salesh sir, Gayatri ma'am, Neelam ma'am, Lalini ma'am, and everyone. Good evening, everyone. Every year, teacher us something new, but this year remind us of the heart of education, compassion, and empathy. Well learned, the learning is not just about textbook for exams. It's about understanding people, their struggle and their dreams in classroom, whether physical or virtual. We say the power of kind word. A patent teacher and a supporting peer empathy helped us bridge difference and create a space where every voice mattered. As we move forward, let's carry this session with us. True education shape not just serve mind but kind hearts, because when empathy guided learning, knowledge becomes a force for good. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Lagmani. Your reflection shows us that kindness is a powerful educational strategy, and it challenges schools to intentionally create emotionally safe learning environment. Thank you very much, Ambassador Lagmani. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist, Dr. Brotati Chakraborty, and she's going to be responding to the question, what pedagogical practice challenged your assumptions this year, and how has it reshaped your approach to teaching and learning? The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Very good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Brotati Chakraborty. Thank you so much, Dr. Gloria ma'am, for this opportunity once again. So the pedagogical practice that challenged my assumption this year was letting students lead the learning process without immediately correcting or directing them. As a teacher, I always believed guidance means constant intervention. I assumed that I did not step in, learning would lose direction. But when I continuously practiced student led or experiential learning, my belief, it was unsettled. And in one class, instead of explaining a concept, I presented a real life situation and asked students to interpret it in their own way. And their responses were not perfect, but they were thoughtful. It was very contextual, and actually it was deeply personal too. And I realized something important, that learning does not require perfection to be meaningful. And this practice reshaped my approach in three ways. First, I now value process over precision. Understanding grows when students are allowed to explore, question, and even struggle. And second one, I shifted from being the center of the classroom to becoming a facilitator of dialogue. And learning became more collaborative, inclusive, and reflective. And third one, really, I learned silence can be pedagogical. When teachers pause, students think. When students think, learning deepens. And this experience transformed my classroom from a space to instruction to a space of co-construction of knowledge aligned, which is very much aligned strongly with NEP 2020. And today I teach with more trust in learners, in learning, and in the power of experience. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you very much. Your reflection reminds us that growth begins when educators are willing to unlearn. And just for the example that you gave, letting students lead the learning process is also very important, not just being the boss in the learning process. It is a timely reminder that humility is one of the most powerful teaching tools we educators must possess. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate your reflection. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist, Ambassador Shailesh Prajapati, and he's going to be responding to the question, reflecting on policy and practice. What lessons showed us the gap between intention and implementation in education? The floor is yours.
Namaste from Gujarat, land of Mahatma Gandhi. I see a big gap between this policy maker and implementation, and one who makes the policy doesn't work in classroom. They always sit in AC room, VIP hotel, and they make education policy. So there is a great gap between policy maker and implementation. Sometimes we find not enough sources. Sometimes we do not find enough funds. Sometimes we do not find materials. Sometimes we don't find enough training. Sometimes we do not find enough facility, even atmosphere. And when they make good policy for education, that is the satire for educational department. And policymaker has different challenges for policy, and there is a great challenges for implementation in classroom. While school has a different needs, school has different challenges, they have different types of different challenges to different students to different states, but policy for the same. So sometimes they need different types of need, and they have different type of policy. The policy maker has different aim, different goal, and they focus on a special fields, while school has different aim, school has different goal, school focus on different fields. In implementation, we find a huge gap, as neither a vast gap. Sometimes we think of our capacity, sometimes we think about our skills, sometimes we think about learning process. There is nothing concerned with policy and implementation. And I would like to say at the end of it comes from my heart, the policymakers of the world, please listen to the teachers before making policy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Shailesh. Your response clearly highlights that good ideas alone are not enough. Policymakers have to listen. It calls for accountability, consistency, and courage in execution of all the rules and goals. Thank you very much, Ambassador Shailesh. We appreciate you on your reflection. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist, Dr. Hussein Magdum, and he's going to be he's going to be reflecting on innovation in education this year. What lesson did we learn about balancing technology with human-centered learning? The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gloria and all others. So this year, rapid growth in digital tools, AI and online platforms, these innovations expanded access, personalized learning, connected classrooms globally. Technology proved its power to enhance efficiency and flexibility in education. However, we also learned that education is deeply human. Learning depends on relationships, empathy, motivation, and guidance. Elements no technology can fully replicate. When technology leads without purpose, learning risks become impersonal and disengaging. The real balance lies in using technology as an enabler. Teachers remain central, not secondary. Their role as mentors, facilitators, and ethical guides is more important than ever. Technology should free educators to focus on creativity, critical thinking, and meaningful interaction. So, the lesson from this year is clear. The future of education is high tech with high touch. These are both things we have to keep a balance. When innovation serves humanity, learning becomes inclusive, effective, and transformative. Thank you, Dr. Gloria.
Thank you very much. Amazing one. Yes, indeed, the future of education is not just about high tech, but high touch. And your response thoughtfully caution us that technology is a tool, not the teacher. The real lesson is that innovation must always serve humanity, not replace the connection humans are supposed to have. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. And I'm going to quickly move over to our next panelist, our own Dr. Rania, and she's going to be responding to the question, looking back at this year, what systemic barrier in education surprised you the most? And what lesson did it teach you or teach everyone about resilience and policy reform? The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening. Good evening, everyone here from Athens. Thank you, Gloria. Before starting talking about the systemic barrier, I just want to highlight some common lessons that we all learned from these sessions of Work for Education this year. The first one is that learning is more effective when it is interactive. This is what we learned here. Walkthroughs encourage questions, discussion, real-time clarification. Seeing concepts in practice improves understanding. So many panelists that we have shared their best practices in the classroom, and definitely we as participants, we grasp ideas better when we observe real examples rather than only hearing explanations. And preparation also is key. Well-structured sessions with clear objectives lead to better engagement and outcomes. We learn that participants and learners have different learning needs and styles. So flexibility is something that helps, and it's something that ensures everyone benefits. And of course, engagement increases retention because active participation and what we are doing here helps a lot, and of course inspires others to follow our own example. Reflection enhances learning. So discussing what was observed helps connect theory to practice, definitely. And also, all this sharing of ideas and sharing of knowledge and our practices in the classroom is beneficial for our for promoting also professional learning communities, because both education is what is a professional learning community. Now, you asked me about systemic barriers. For me, what was most important, was most surprising, that at the intersection of technology, socioeconomic status, and institutional flexibility, although we have all these things, we notice again inequitable access to quality education. Inequality for me is the most one, because still, for example, in Greece, we have the application of one-size-fits-all structures. And in reality, we know that students come from very different contexts: economic, cultural, linguistic, psychological. I don't think that this is respected. So we talk in theory, yes, blah, blah, but in practice, I don't think this is happening. And the rapid increase of digital learning, while of course it's innovative, I think further exposed this divide, because technology, yes, was widely promoted as a solution, but for many learners, it became another barrier, because there's children who have limited access to devices, they don't have internet connections, there's a lack of digital literacy. So this affects, of course, minorities, marginalized communities. So what surprised not me, but many educators, was not the existence of inequality, but how systemic and normalized it had become. So despite these challenges, this year offered a powerful lesson on resilience, because I think that students adapted to a familiar modes of learning with the EAI, which has been integrated in the curriculum in many countries. In my country, also Greece, we have integrated in the Greek schools the version ChatGPT Edu. And the teachers also redesigned curricula overnight, we could say, often without adequate training, institutional support. Families and communities stepped in as co-educators, reinforcing the idea that education does not exist only within classroom walls. And the resilience was not accidental. It was purely human, because it emerged from empathy, from creativity, from a deep belief in the value of learning. And resilience, of course, should not be romanticized as a substitute for systemic support. Instead, it should be recognized as evidence of what is possible when systems empower rather than constrain the people within them. So the experience of this year clearly point the need for policy reform that prioritizes inclusion over uniformity. So many sessions that we have dedicated to inclusion, but still don't think this is happening. Access must be redefined, not only as enrollment or digital connectivity, but as a meaningful participation in learning. So key policy lessons include investing in digital infrastructure, but at the same time supporting digital literacy, designing flexible curriculum that respect diverse needs and cultural contexts, of course, supporting educators through continuous professional development and mental health resources at the same time, and involving communities, as I mentioned before, and parents in decision-making processes. So policies must move beyond emergency responses and towards long-term equity-centered strategies. So I conclude, I want to say that perhaps the most important lesson learned is education systems themselves must become learners. Reflection, adaptation, they are essential. And when systems listen to those most affected by their shortcomings, meaning the minorities, they can evolve into spaces of opportunity, of dignity, and shared growth. And as we move forward, I think the challenge is clear: to transform resilience from reaction to adversity into a foundation of sustainable, inclusive educational reform. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rania. Your reflection shows that resilience and active participation is not accidental. It is designed through intentional policy choices. And what stands out is the call to move from reactive reforms to proactive systems that anticipate learners' realities. And it's really awesome that we are moving forward. And I also noticed that what is happening in one country also happens in another country. And that is why we are here together to share and learn from one another. Thank you very much for your reflection. We appreciate it. And
Yes, what you mentioned, there are common issues, common problems in many
yes,
countries.
it
So
happens
what we first need to
everywhere.
focus on these problems. So think out the solutions since we face the same challenges. We need
Yes.
to work on solutions altogether from teachers from different countries. Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rania. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to move over to Ambassador Gayatri Mishra, and she's going to be responding to the question, what lessons from this year reinforce the importance of creativity and critical thinking in education? The floor is yours, Ambassador Gayatri.
Namaste from India. I am Gayatri Mishra. Good evening, Rania ma'am, Gloria ma'am, Salish sir, Kamal sir, Nahid sir, and all of you. Ma'am, my answer are: this year clearly showed that creativity and critical thinking are essential skills, not optional extras in education. When students were encouraged to solve real world problems, think identity and express ideas creativity, they become more engaged and confident learners. Project based learning, discussion, and reflective activities help students move beyond rote memorization to deep understanding. The key lesson learned is that education must focus on how students think, not just what they remember, so they can adapt, innovate, and succeed in a rapidly changing world. And a part of this, under NEP 2020, the children of our country got the opportunity to increase their knowledge by connecting globally thought our internet. We made every possible effort to help our class children progress. And this year, it's safely by joining AWTE, I got the opportunity to learn new innovation uh, and decisions of education quality on such a big platform at the international level.
Okay. Ambassador Gayatri? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this wonderful opportunity and share my views for international platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Gayatri. Your insight reinforces that memorization cannot prepare learners for complexity, and it challenges educators to create spaces where thinking is valued over answers. Thank you very much for that. And I'm going to move over to Ambassador Shaheen Sultana Mohammed Sheikh. Are you there? She's going to be responding to the question, what lesson this year highlighted the role of educators as mentors, not just instructors? The floor is yours.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Respected Gloria, ma'am, and all dignitaries, this year taught us a powerful and lasting lesson, one that goes beyond textbooks, lesson plans, and assessments. It reminded us that educators are not merely instructors of subjects, they are mentors who shape minds, hearts, and futures. In classrooms across the world, learning was no longer confined to completing the syllabus. Students needed understanding, reassurance, and guidance. In these moments, educators step into a deeper role. We listen, we encourage, and we stood beside our learners when answers were not always clear. This year showed us that teaching is not only about what we teach, but how and why we teach. As a mentor, educators help students navigate challenges, academic, emotional, and social. We learn to ask not just, have you completed your work, but also, are you okay? That simple shift made a profound difference. When students felt seen and valued, their confidence grew, their voices strengthened, and their curiosity flourished. This year also that mentor means guiding, not directing. Educators empowered students to think critically, reflect deeply, and believe in their own potential. By sharing our experiences, modeling resilience, and encouraging perseverance, we taught lessons that no textbook could capture. Most importantly, this year reinforced the human connection at the heart of education. A mentor inspires hope, builds trust, and opens door to possibility. Long after students forget specific facts or formulas, they remember the teacher who believed in them, who encouraged them when they doubted themselves and helped them discover their purpose. In conclusion, the greatest lesson of this year is clear. Educators are mentors who ignite lifelong learning. When we teach with empathy, guide with wisdom, and lead with compassion, we transform education into a force that shapes not just successful students, but responsible, confident, and caring human beings. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Shaheen Sultana. Your response beautifully redefines teaching as guidance and care. And I love your statement that says students often remember how we made them feel more than how we teach them, how they were taught. Thank you very much for that amazing examples and also the reflection you gave. Thank you. And I'm going to move over to our next panelist, Honorable Professor Ambassador Shainu Banji, and she's going to be responding to the question, what did this year teach us about the role of ethics and integrity in shaping educational leadership? The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Peace greetings to all present here. Upon reflecting on this topic, I wish to state that ethics and integrity are the foundational qualities of effective leadership, shaping the ways leaders make decisions, interact with others, and guide their teams or organizations. Ethical leadership involves adhering to moral principles, while integrity ensures that the teachers ensures that the leader's actions align with their words and values. Teaching profession has become indispensable in the present global world as it serves as a medium through which knowledge is acquired and imparted to the learners. Regardless of the career chosen by the learners, achieving the desired goals rely on those who had acquired the knowledge and are available and ready to impart it to those who are ready to learn. This is because different professions, such as medical persons, pilots, engineers, and all others that could ever be thought of, have at different stages passed through the tutoring and mentoring by teachers. The fact has made the presence of teachers in all societies to be crucial and necessary, as no country has ever developed above the quality of the education. The quality of education in all societies, all countries, depends on the qualities of the available teachers. Acquisition of knowledge effectively begins early afterbirth of an individual and comes to an end when that individual dies. In the contemporary world, effective teaching and learning is achieved by applying some sufficient moral values and ethical conducts that are formulated to guide learners, teachers, or organizations in order to achieve the desired goals for the benefits of the learners and societies at large. The formulated code of conduct, which serves as a guide for all the people involved in the learning process, is called educational ethics. Having said that, teachers are the builders and makers of all professionals globally. Their responsibility are enormous, which ranges from inspiration, motivation, and inculcation of values in thousands of learners, both within and outside the school. As role models, the students look up to the teachers to develop habits of learning and coping, their conduct, actions, sense of discipline, values, and ethics. In real words, teachers lead by example as they are the real role models. It's my time up. I would like to end here. Thank you all for listening to me. May God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Professor Shainu Banji. Your response powerfully reminds us that credibility is the currency of leadership. And without integrity, even the most innovative reforms lose their impact. Thank you very much for that powerful reflection. And as we come to the close of this powerful session, one truth stands out clearly. Reflection is not the end of learning. It is the beginning of transformation. The lessons shared today remind us that education is shaped not only by policies and curricula, but by courage, compassion, collaboration, and the willingness to learn again and again. We heard that voices matter, well-being matters, inclusion matters, and that education must remain responsive to the reality of our world. And this session calls us to move forward with intention, to turn reflection into action, insight into impact, and lessons into leadership. As educators and stakeholders, may we live here more conscious of our influence and more committed to shaping learning spaces where every learner can thrive. Thank you to our incredible panelists for their wisdom and to everyone who joined us with open hearts and curious minds. Let us carry this lesson forward, not just into the coming year, but into every classrooms, conversation, and community we serve. Thank you, and may our collective work in education continue to light the way forward. Thank you very much, and have a good evening, everyone.
Gloria, ma'am, you forgot to take the picture.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. We're going to take our pictures. We can't forget that. All right, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's take our pictures.
Yeah.
Please turn on your cameras. Let's take our pictures, please. Turn on your cameras. After the count of 5, we're going to share our emoji and take the picture. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think some people are still turning on their cameras. I think we have only one person that hasn't turned. Okay, yes, we are complete now. Great one. All right, so let's go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And see you next week. See you next week. Bye-bye. Good night.
गुड नाइट
Good
शुभ
night.
रात्रि सभी को
Subratri.